What is up, guys and gals? Welcome back to the Nerd Castle for the next episode of Kona, Day 1. My name is Splattercat. Happy to have you here today. I like this game. It's relaxing. I was talking about that in the previous episode. I didn't really expect to... I love survival games and I love crafting games, but I started fiddling around with this game and it seemed to me to be more of kind of like an interactive story with very, very light survival aspects. Where did that wolf go? So the wolf's tracks came from this way. Oh, never mind. Sorry, I haven't recorded in a while, so I'm still trying to figure out where I was picking up. I know I'm supposed to be picking up because I wrote a note to myself that says wolf tracks for where I wanted to start up again. I got a sticky note. Seriously, though, sticky notes are the worst addiction ever. I used to not use sticky notes, but I was constantly messing stuff up and forgetting it, so now I use the sticky note program on my desktop. So many sticky notes all over my desktop now. Like, there are loads and loads and loads of them. And they all have, like, little notes and, like, one-liners and jokes that I thought of. And it's just... it's even more disorganized now. It worked as an organization process until I folded everything else in my life into the sticky notes. But wasn't expecting what I got out of this game. And yet, it still remains pretty engaging. I'm hoping that once the storyline gets added, because that seems to be, like, the major thing we're missing right now, is we're missing kind of that Deus Ex Machina. We're missing the force that drives us through the game. Right now, we're kind of just walking around looting and taking a look at the countryside and just trying to enjoy the scenery for what it is. Now that we've cleared out like the first couple locations, there doesn't seem to be a ton of storyline. I do like the way that you start to dig into the lives of each person at each location, though, because that's how it is. If you went through an empty suburb and just went into every house and started looking at pictures, started reading notes that people had left for each other, started digging around in cell phones that had been left behind, you would find evidence of the very, very different lives that we all live, even though we're like 20 feet from each other. Like, I can knock on my wall right now, my neighbor will be like, "Stop it," like in like a heartbeat. And yet, he lives a very different life than mine, and I am unaware of any of his affairs, you know what I mean? He's seriously like 11 feet above my head right now, and don't know anything about him. Then again, my neighborhood is not necessarily the most friendly one. In general, you try to avoid people around here, and just, what is this? Huh. That one's got like face paint and a mask on or something. Okay. I wonder if they're looking at the thing that I'm supposed to go in that direction, because they're all facing the same way. Hey, looky here. What have we found now? Maybe there's like pieces of a talisman that you have to put together or something? Let's take a look at our oddities. We don't have multiples of it. So my assumption here is that maybe once the final release comes out, the talisman will have some kind of function. Like, it looks like there's multiple talismans. And then from there, I assume maybe you have to use them at varying locations in order to stop whatever cold invasion of the wolves is going on right now. I've never been in combat in this game, so I apologize if something bad happens. There's no way for me to tell, but we need to hoof it for right now. And we found ourselves another campsite out in the middle of nowhere. Suppose there are much worse things we could have found. Canadians up here just drinking beer and camping all day, every day. I can respect that. Beer and camping go together hand in hand. Scan my periphery real fast. Scan everything for knocked over trees, since those always seem to indicate where the treasure at. And I do like treasure. Do the tracks continue off this way? They do. How cold are we? Pretty goddamn cold. We're gonna have to wrap this one up with a quickness. How far out is this taking me right now? Ah, we're almost back at... I wonder if this answers the question that I had in the previous episode, which is, where did those wolves go out of the back of the general store? I think we're about to get our answer. So that is where they went, it looks like. Yep, they came in. They went for the trash cans, and then they were gone. Let's warm up at the general store for a minute. Every time. Scared me. Let's warm up in the general store for a second. Hey. Stop that, haunted door. You stop that right now. I'm trying to get my status all nice and cleared up here, and you ain't making it easy. You're making it very, very difficult. The ladder moved back on its own, too. That's a little creepy. I think I'd like to have some music available. It's feeling a little dark and scary right now. And so I need some jovial music to dance to. I think we'll probably head back to where we came from now. Did I give myself enough time? Okay, I was just trying to make sure. Why is my health low? My health appears to be a little bit lower, and I'm not sure how it got there. There's no telling for right now. I don't think there's any reason to stay on the trail that we've carved for ourselves if we can just laser line our way back to our car. I don't really see anything over here, although I will point out that we didn't really explore what was out behind the general store. In reality, it's rare that we find anything useful when we do stuff like that anyways, so why bother? Now that I got the laser line kill, we just gotta hold this heading and we'll be perfectly fine. Best way to do it, just take your hand off the mouse. That's usually what I do when I'm trying to cut a laser line on any game. When I'm playing DayZ or if I'm playing H1Z1 and I know vaguely where I am on a map and I need to shoot like a perfect heading in a direction, I'll just set myself up there and then go. It's much more difficult in real life to hold a heading because you're going to come across like you aren't going to want to go through these bushes right here. I don't walk through bushes, I walk around them, if at all possible. I think if we can stay moving, we'll probably be alright. Maybe your health drops when you get down below a certain coldness. Seems possible. Seems like a pretty reasonable explanation considering we haven't been bit by anything or there's been no attempted human murder so far. I distinguish that because everything around seems to be wolves. Although they don't appear to be that aggressive, so who knows. The heading held. What's this over here? Oh, we followed these tracks already. Okay. Cool, cool. I'm just trying to make sure I didn't miss anything. I don't want to miss anything. Because when I miss stuff, I have debacles like we had about the trunk in the first episode. Where people are just like, ah, the trunk! I promise, there's probably just a fire starter kit back there or something. I've yet to really... Why are we getting warmer right now and then colder? That was kind of odd. Maybe they're simulating the perception of being too cold. You get hypothermia, you actually start to feel warm or something like that, if I remember correctly. Which further prompts people into thinking it's not so bad, they'll be fine, it just took me a little while to warm up. Which is definitely probably not true in any case. Let's pull the vehicle back around. All the while, carefully looking for anything that might be of use out here. But it's more than likely just going to reconnect to the road back on the side. Alrighty, back to the task at hand. Down by the road. It looks like we've explored a pretty good chunk of this part of the map. So let's go into a couple more homesteads. We haven't really been looking at any of the established places on the map while we've been playing. Instead, I've been focusing on things that are off the beaten trail. This house over here I think I've been to before. When I was just like playtesting the game before. I always try to play a game for a couple hours before I put it on the channel. Just so like I know what the controls are, so I know vaguely how everything works. Usually I try to avoid any storyline or actually accomplishing anything during that time because it creates spoilers. But I do attempt really to just kind of vet the game and make sure that nothing's all messed up. We've got a little shed over there. We'll check that out just a minute.
A wintry atmosphere surrounded the house. The soundlessness of the area suggested it was empty.
Okay. Why do they have a support beam up against the back wall? That's not good. Take a couple things of wood off of here. I'm hoping wood is a bit more rare. Kind of like the ink ribbons from Resident Evil. Where you gotta dole them out a little bit better once the game comes out. I'm hoping that the preview just gives you tons of access to wood because why not? Nothing inside the trash cans. Looks like we got a little hole right here, and there's definitely something down in there. We have the magnet on a string.
A key? What could it be for? The garden shed? Carl couldn't reach it with his arm alone, but he had more than a few tricks up his sleeve to pick it up.
I wonder if that's a superstition or something, or if it's just coincidental. A lot of the buildings we've seen so far have just like had a random object leaned up against the back of them. I'm assuming it's purely coincidental, but you can never tell when it comes to gypsy magic type stuff. Like, oh, you must put a stool up against your back wall at 2 in the afternoon, and then the beast will not arrive. I don't know. Just making shit up at this point. Flare gun.
If he was to venture deep into the woods, carrying a flare gun definitely wouldn't hurt, Carl assumed. At best, he could probably scare some beasts off. At worst, he was in for a nice little firework.
My concern here would be, how come I can't pick those up? Gimme! What if I need nails later and I don't have any nails? Maybe I'm full up on nails right now. That might be the chainsaw! It's not working. That was the developers politely telling you to walk away. The chainsaw don't work. Like, but I want it to work. When was the last time? Ooh. Oh, we can't pick up the gas can either. So maybe that's how they designate that you can't... I bet that's how they designate the end of the preview. I bet in order to get to the north, your car breaks down or something. You need more fuel, and so you got to run the fuel from here to the gas station. Because it's not letting me pick it up right now. I'm thinking there's key stuff they've left out. Just so when you get to a certain point in the progression, you have to stop and you can't go any further. Like certain little things have just been left unactivated or whatever. It's disappointing, too, because I'm getting into the game now. I really am. Not disappointing in a, like, wah, wah, like, bad review type of way. But just disappointing in kind of like a I want to keep playing sort of way, and it just bums me out that there's nothing left. Looks like we got some string over here. Make another magnet on a string if we want to. May as well, I suppose. I don't know if it's going to be useful in the future. Sounds like something creepy's going on. Let's light a fire real fast. Now that we got the fire lit, that should allow us... Oh, look at that, a spirograph.
The spirograph amused Carl. It was a nice modern toy, aside from being repetitive by nature and completely useless. Still, it found its way into many Quebecois homes.
Yeah, I had a spirograph when I was a kid. Kind of an interesting little toy. You can make some cool stuff with it. It doesn't really like serve, like I said, it doesn't really serve any function. That's what he just said, but kind of an interesting way to kill an hour or two.
A pay stub for some undoubtedly harsh lumberjack work. Alexandre Blais felled trees and chopped woods for Cloutier et Fils.
Huh. Nothing inside that drawer right there. Let's go through and see what we can have at here. It's rare that I find anything in the cabinets, in all honesty. Oh, cigarettes in that one, though. Right next to the rest of the herbs. Doesn't look like it wants to activate. Probably due to the fact that cabinet's sticking out. There we go. All better. I think we've seen that picture in other homes. I don't think it's indicative of anything. It's probably just a... Ah, more beer. I like beer. I like beer. Let's drink a beer right now, actually. It's beer time. You know what time it is? It's Miller time. So what did that beer accomplish for me? Does it do anything? Does it like raise your health or help with your stamina? It doesn't look like it does. No tone. Bathroom appears to be somewhat empty. Some random pills and whatnot in here, but nothing that looks like it's going to be intensely valuable in the moment. We got a couple of aspirins. Those more than likely restore your health, so let me use an aspirin real fast. Yep, health went back up. Good. Nothing in, back, or behind. A busted mirror.
Well, looks like someone woke up on the wrong side of the bed.
Kind of an understatement. We need toilet paper. Never underestimate the value of toilet paper when you're out in the wild. For real, that's one of the #1 things I pack when I go camping or I do any sort of survival stuff. Toilet paper. Hate wiping my ass with leaves and shit. It's the worst. Somebody's a hockey fan around here. Slightly unnerving. Ted Harris. Okay, that's unnerving. That's a little bit upsetting. Little kid drawings, man. Little kid drawings. Always unnerving for some reason. Smoking in bed, bad habit. That's a good way to burn yourself to death. I had an aunt that used to smoke in bed. She was always falling asleep with a cigarette in her hands, burning her fingers and shit. I fear the worst for Alexander. He hardly gets any sleep. I thought it was the work, but it seems to be far worse than that. From dusk till dawn, he just stares into the void. He barely talks to me. His son asked him to play ball, and he didn't say a word. And that way he has to glance at the window. Last night I heard him mumble in his sleep, "He's coming." I don't know why, but those words left a deep impression on me. He woke up shortly thereafter covered in sweat. He couldn't remember the dream, obviously. He didn't go back to sleep after that, chain smoking the night away over by the window. He told me to pack my things this morning, and I wonder why. Does he himself know? We're waiting, but for what? I think I feel dread. Yeah, I wouldn't be feeling too good about this part of town if I was out here. I think I'd be bailing out right about now. This is one of those situations where, like, if you pursue this, if you continue running this down, there's going to be a point later where you're about to die or where something bad happens, and in your head, you're going to go, I knew I should have just walked away. And because you didn't, now you get to go through all these traumatic experiences. And I hate that feeling. I hate that feeling so much. Let's take a walk around the property and make sure there's not any wolf tracks leading away or to or from the place. Just see if there's anything along the edges here. Obviously, they had visual contact with the beast because his son knows what it looks like. He had a picture that was labeled The Monster, and it looks to me as though the husband was watching for it in the darkness too. It seems like all the families in the area were acutely aware of what was going on, or at least, if not acutely, they had a sixth sense, a supernatural sense that something weird is going on. I don't know, everybody's felt that feeling before where you know something weird has happened or is about to happen. Like that weird silence that you get where it's just, this is unnatural. Something's going on right now. It's too quiet. And it seems like everybody in the community had some vague idea that something bad was definitely going to happen soon. But how many of them got out on time? It seems like the ones that stayed were all petrified in blocks of ice. And the ones that got away just left everything behind. It wasn't worth it to bring it. Left all their worldly possessions, which is a big thing for human beings. We don't like to leave stuff behind. Human beings, by our nature, I think we're collectors. I didn't mean to do that. That was an accident. I think by our nature, we human beings are pack rats and collectors. We like stuff and things. It makes us feel comfortable. Makes us able to relax. There's some sense of normalcy that the objects are still where they're supposed to be and the plan is going according to the way it was dictated. Let's head up this little side road over here. Turn might be a little challenging for us, but we'll give it a go. Our wheel radius is not so incredible. There we go. It seems like some places you can go kind of off the road a little bit. But most places, it seems like they don't really want you to do it. I'm thinking... Is the bridge out? The bridge is good, although it is sketchy as shit. Ew, I don't trust this for a second. Oh, this bridge is so gnarly. This is one of those hold your breath bridges. You're just like, I've driven across a couple of those out in the backwoods where it's just like, I don't trust this for nothing. It looks as though there's some kind of medical facility up in here. Let's have a little look. This will more than likely be the last thing that we accomplish during this episode. Pull in real fast and see if we can find anybody. There is a part. Huh. Okay. It looks like maybe we can't go off in that direction. That might be the boundary of where we can explore. It'll depend if it continues behind this house. Because we do still have things around the map that we could take a look at. I figure if it was marked, you'd be able to investigate it, right? Wolf tracks over here, too. Another beer bottle. Looks to me as though the wolves are mostly concerned with the garbage. No idea what the hell that is. The base of a street lamp or something. Hello? Nothing inside the poop chute. Dr. BEAUPRÉ'S cottage. The hell is this? Like a little lean-to? I guess it's probably a woodshed. You probably put wood out here to keep it dry. Like a decent enough plan. Man, you know this guy played with Lincoln logs. He nailed those little bastards. Please use the other door. I don't speak French, but I speak Spanish vaguely. And it's similar enough to where you get the idea. I assume SVP means s'il vous plaît.
There should be a law forbidding doctors from falling sick.
Medical emergency in town. The doctor there is sick. I'll be back soon. If he dies, I won't be returning because I have to replace him.
Finding a locked door in the country is not that big of a deal. Carl knew a key had to be hidden nearby.
Yeah, either the wood pile, or you see how the corner of the map, or the corner of the mat is kind of upturned. It's probably underneath the wood, but we can't carry anymore. We're at our full weight allotment right now. Looks like there's a barn over there. Some kind of large building to be investigated. Okay. Beautiful country, though. Man, can you imagine waking up every morning to this? Even with the weather, it's beautiful country. Beautiful, beautiful country. I think we're out of time for the day. My name is Splattercat. Thank you for joining me here for the next episode of Kona, Day 1. I think we're just about out of content, but I think we got another episode in us. I'll see y'all next time. Bye, everybody.